In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Hello, friends.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Chadwick. How are you?
Better now.
Oh boy. Are the mountains blue? I guess on the banquet edition they don't turn blue. They're just
they're always blue.
in a perpetual state of blueness. Like certain parts of my anatomy. I think instead of talking about today, though, what we plan on talking about, I'm going to do the politician point, because you're not supposed to point with your pointer finger. You got to do the thumb on top of your fist, kind of.
I thought you were doing a laser pointer, kind of
Similar. Yeah, it's if you want to be a politician and you want to point but not come off as rude, you pretend you have a laser pointer.
Excellent.
Completely not related to politicians or laser pointers is our topic of the day today, which if you've managed to actually maybe read the title, I want to talk. Here's the thing. It's December.
Yes.
Christmas is coming up right around the corner. Dare I say it's a December to remember, a Lexus December to remember event.
I love that kind of one. That's my favorite December to remember.
I own a Lexus. Perhaps you have or do or will have and owned Lexusness.
Sure.
I recently drove a Lexus I had never driven before.
Oh.
Just this past week. I didn't even tell you about that. But it just feels right to celebrate. That's a strong word. To just discuss. Have a meeting of the minds and just talk about Lexus in this a December to remember event, or forget, right? This could be a December to forget.
I celebrate Lexus, my friend.
Yeah,
like just if you want to read about my resume regarding Lexus products, I've owned a few. I think four or so. I had a 2006 Lexus LX 470, which is the fancy Land Cruiser. Nice truck. I had a Lexus 2012 Lexus CT 200H, fancy Prius. That was a hell of a really good commuter car, actually. 2019 Lexus RX 350, which is like Lexus's do everything, like
bread and butter.
Yeah, you need a vehicle. It's this can do it. And then most recently, 2007 Lexus GX 470, which is the fancy kind of Forerunner Prada everything, a little bit of everything. Yeah, I've owned a few.
I have a lot of time around Lexi. Has that ever been determined? Lexuses? I've spent time in the Lexium, and currently my daily is the 06 LS 430, which is we'll discuss. I've spent some time in like earlier SCs, like an SC 300, ES 300s, both the early and the late one. My mom, we got her a daily driver a while ago. It's a GX 460. It's a 2012, so it's the last year before they got the spindle grill. What else? Oh, my wife, for a while, her daily was an RX 330, so that's that second gen RX. And I know many people that have had many Lexus. Andrew Fountain, friend of the pod over at Cars and Bids, he's got himself a GSF that I'm relatively jealous of because I think those are eminently cool.
Pretty awesome car. Yeah.
Lexus. I've had generally overwhelmingly good experience with Lexus products, and I think that's kind of like, I suppose that's the telltale. Like that's the thing, is people, like, whether they loved the car or found it like somewhat milquetoast and uninspiring. Okay. I don't know anyone that's had come away and been like, I had a bad experience. Like, my Lexus left me straight. I couldn't keep it on the road.
Sure.
It was uncomfortable. It was impractical. It was whatever. Like, somebody might say it's a little boring. Okay. Or uninspiring. Sure. Depending on the model.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone that's had a bad Lexus experience?
Truthfully, I don't know. I don't think I have. And like, that was just my ownership experience. I've been around, obviously, SC 430s. I do want to call out my buddy Terry has this epic, like, modified GS 450H, which
Scary
is like
Terry.
Yes, he's not scary. He's like the nicest dude in the world. But his GS is like modified with real like parts from Japan, like a bunch of Tom stuff, really high end stuff. He like takes his car stuff very seriously. And that GS 450H, for those not paying attention or don't like know all the nomenclature, was a Lexus hybrid focused on performance, not fuel economy. And legitimately, we tested it, and it was in the high fives, 0 to 60 or mid fives.
Yeah,
which
those are
puts
cool.
it with V8 powered cars like the, you know, a little slower than like an E90 M3, but faster than a Cayman S. That's fast for a 4-door sedan, luxury sedan. And it's just big shout out to him for modifying that car. And the handling's great too. So super cool car. But the things you can do with these like regular looking Lexus hybrids, you know, for example, is he turned into an awesome car. But I've been around a lot of them too. And you're right, man. I can't think of a story where someone bought a Lexus and was like, man, maintenance is a pain in the butt. Parts are expensive. The thing just barely does it, you know, it has all these like technical gremlins. They don't. They don't.
In grand podcast tradition here for us, I forgot one that I owned. I also had I believe it was an 08. Yeah, it was an 08 GS 350.
Okay.
That I bought. It had big miles. It had like, I want to say like 215,000 miles on it when I bought it. Got a really good deal on it because of the mileage. Still ran perfectly.
Yeah.
Brilliant car.
They're great. Those, I like how those look. I like the gauges. I thought the gauges were really cool in those.
Yeah, and it's funny, like each generation of Lexus, I feel like it's not like, oh, this model like it's the next evolution, and then like I feel like all the models like have their own like segments, like where if you talk about like the 90s Lexuses all feel the same, and then like the early 2000s to like mid 2000s Lexus, right? So call it like 1998 to like 2006 Lexuses all feel the same.
Yep.
And then from like call it 07 to 13, 14, they all feel the same. And then it's like the whole lineup like kind of evolves in chunks. But yeah, what's interesting is, and part of what made me think about this topic was, so, and you mentioned it, and I'm fresh off of driving one of these, and I hadn't driven one before, and I want to give you my take, if you will.
Oh, let me guess
Hot
the car
take.
first, because you haven't told me. So it's a Lexus I mentioned. You just drove it. I don't think it's any of the truck ones. I think it's a car one. I mentioned SC430.
2002 SC430.
Already won the quiz game.
That's it. Hey, exactly. All right, let's shut it down. Let's go home.
And we're out.
So yes, it's a 2002 SC430, which is it's an interesting car. I'll get to that, I suppose. 2002 SC430, silver over black, pretty basic. It's got the original pie plate wheels. It's completely stock, 128,000 miles, which is just getting started, right?
Oh yeah.
And you know, my daily is an LS 430. So in my head, I'm like, okay, like a lot of this is probably going to kind of feel the same. You know, it's gonna, when you sit in it and you start it and you're idling, you're like, okay, yeah, kind of like a lot of this does feel the same. Like the seating position and the controls they're not the same, but they're similar. And then you drive it and the engine feels the same. I think mine's got the 6-speed auto. This is an earlier car. I think it's a 5-speed auto. So the transmission felt a little different, but I didn't, and I don't know. I know you did a video review on this car a billion years ago, and I have watched it, but it was years ago. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I don't remember your take. So I'm curious to see if we're aligned here.
Let's see.
Engine smooth as butter. I enjoyed it. Which
makes good
no
sound.
surprises there. It does. Surprisingly good sound.
Outside the car, you really hear it, or roof down, you can hear that V8's got a little bit of a growl to it. It's kind of nice.
It does. What was a little tricky to get used to is because when I first got it, it was top up. I didn't jump in it top down. It was top up, everything. So you sit in it and it feels like an SC, a sport coupe. It doesn't feel like a convertible. No. And then you go around some turns and some stuff and like, oh, there's some cowl shake. It's not aggressive, but like, oh, it resets your expectation a little bit. Like, oh, this is actually like this chassis is still a convertible. Like it's not, the roof is not providing any real structure here. But when you're just driving it without any bumps or twists or you going over everything, it feels like you're in a coupe.
Right.
And then you hit a bump or you're in a turn and you hit like a pothole in it and the whole chassis kind of like twists and shakes and you're like, oh, never mind, this is a convertible chassis. I did not love the suspension. I thought, and I don't know if it's, I assume it's two things. I think it's it's the sporty one. So we're going to give it a sportier suspension, and it's going to ride firmer. It's not going to be. It's going to be less compliant.
Mm-hmm.
Coupled with a much shorter wheelbase than my LS, I didn't love the way it rided. Like I rode. Rided is not a word. Rode.
Rided dirty.
Roadified, and I wish it and maybe this was not possible or just they didn't have the scope. I wish it rode like my LS. I wish the suspension was squishy and soft and compliant like the LS instead of trying to be something that you would want to hustle only for it to let you down the moment you I mean, I didn't really try and hustle it, but just like driving around, I'm like, I don't think I would enjoy hustling this car in any capacity.
Yeah.
I think would have thought it would have been a killer cruiser.
Yeah.
But the ride wasn't there to support a cruiser style ride. It wasn't like beating me up, but I was just like coming out of my LS and into that, I'm like, oh, this is not ride nearly as well.
Yeah. Let me throw
and
my
I don't want to push it.
Yeah, let me throw my hat into the SC430 conversation because you nailed it. I did a review quite a while ago, and I drove that car for quite a bit, actually. It was a relative of mine, so I got to put some mileage in it. But so the whole point of my review, and it's like my third most popular YouTube video of all time, because the car has been gaining some popularity. But that car is an interesting thing. Jeremy Clarkson shredded it. Everybody knows that when it came out. It was like the worst car in the world. And some of the issues I take with the SC430 are that they didn't know if they were making a Grand Tourer or they were making a sports car. And the suspension is straight up sports car suspension. That thing rides you guys know what I drive, right? There's a Mini Cooper behind me. I like a firm, like rougher ride, and it delivers that. But at the same time, you shouldn't be sitting in a very expensive, opulently equipped Lexus product to have a ride like that. It just doesn't match. And so with that suspension, you're like, I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to abuse it a little bit. I'm going to be aggressive in the corners. It's not bad. The chassis is pretty good, except the gearbox doesn't match either, right? The gearbox, sure. I don't know how you got to, if you drove it spiritedly, but I found that
not really.
I want manual controls where I could at least rev hang and keep the RPMs up, because that V8 actually revs out pretty awesomely. I love that 4.3. All those full like aluminum Lexus engines are quite awesome.
Yeah.
But
easy.
I found that like without that throttle control, I just got the sporty ride via the suspension, and then straightaways the thing just monstered forward, but fell off in the corners when it was aggressively upshifting. So
yeah, I think we're kind of we're mostly on the same page there, because it's like it doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't know what it wants to be, but sort of like if it had if it simply had LS ish suspension, and I realize there's a wheelbase difference, there's some that it doesn't have a structural roof component. It's like, okay, so it's not going to ride the same, and I can appreciate that. But if it had the same, if at least the suspension had the same compliance or similar compliance, because what's funny is I feel like the LS absolutely is not a car that you hustle.
No,
but because of just it feels more, the whole car feels more competent in what it is and what it does. I almost would feel more comfortable in attempting to hustle the LS 400.
I feel like
I don't know.
I think the SC leaves it for dead in the canyons.
It probably would.
100%. And there's a weight discravency, I think, too.
No,
it's probably not as much as we think, to be honest, though, with the roof mechanism and everything. But honestly,
I
guess the technology wasn't there, man. So, like, think of this.
Yeah.
Like, my GX has the selectable dampers from soft to sport.
Sure.
If it had that technology, I think that solves most of the SC430 suspension problems. And I know we're going like SC430 led, but I think like a selectable dampening rate would be fantastic on a car like that.
Yeah, and I mean they had it. Toyota had that back in '86.
Yeah, but a better one. Like my GX 470 is incredibly pronounced.
Yeah.
Like when you go from soft to wallowy pig to, pretty firm, and you feel every little imperfection. So
Yeah. I just wish it was softer and more compliant. And
can I say
really
something?
that's it.
The
Please.
SC430's interior is absolutely beautiful.
It's good.
Yeah, and mine had that
Exterior.
I like how it looks. I think it's completely Japanese. I think with the roof up, it looks like a totally different vehicle than like, I don't know, any other convertible ever made. It looks really unique. It has a cool look to it. It's a little soft. This is the age of like very bubbly Lexus.
Yeah,
I mean, the
the
430 is pretty bubbly too, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
honestly,
the
like,
LS and
I think it
all of
looks
them
good.
at
The
that era.
roof dropping mechanism is one of the sexiest. When you do that at a stoplight,
Mhm.
everybody's looking. I don't know. I kind of dig on that car. I mean, it's a V8 convertible. The back seat is an afterthought. It's a parcel tray at best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like that car though. I will
I
say I still like it.
It's a weird car
Mm,
that I like. I've always been oddly attracted to it, more from like they almost got it right, but they clearly didn't, just by like looking at it and
yeah.
and the pie plate wheels and the goofy headlights, and it looks a little bit like a goldfish, and like it makes me want to look at it and be like, I how can I make this cool? Like, do I lower it and put different wheels on it because like the pie plates are love it or hate it? Do you like I don't know. Can you make it handle? And then I drove it. I drove it with the thought of like, I'm going to like it, and I wish I liked it more than I did,
Yeah.
because if it drove excellently as like an excellent cruiser, or had a compliant gearbox that made it work as a sporty kind of grand tourer, and it doesn't really work as either, the way it is like out of the box. I don't know. It makes me want to be Captain Save Alexis a little bit less. But it's still it's put together very well. It's still going to outlive us all as far as reliability and dependability. It still has a convertible hardtop, which I always thought was cool. I know they're not in vogue anymore. We're back to soft top land, but like I've always appreciated that design element. So I don't know. Maybe it could still be saved. It's not truly terrible. It's not the worst car in the world, as Clarkson said, but.
And I know we're laboring a bit on the SC430, but I think that what wins me over for that is if that had any other badge on it, that car would be gone. It would be valueless now. It would be in junkyards
because had a Kia badge on it.
Yeah, the roof would have failed like 20 years ago when it came out, like 2 years after it came out. There'd be some, I don't know, what are we going to put linglongs on that thing for tires? It's just not going to be maintained. The timing belts won't be done. But the problem is, well, not the problem, but the reason it still exists is because that Lexus badge, which is what this episode's about. And that's going to be an awesome V8 convertible rear-wheel drive car. And affordable now. The prices are going up. The prices are going up, my man.
That's what I mean. Like they've been going. When
I shot the review, those were $8,000.
The
they were $8,000 for low mileage. The one I drove had like 108,000 miles. Like,
yeah, now an $8,000 one is like nipping at the heels at 200K on the mileage.
Yep.
If you're looking at a 100,000 mile example, that's a $12,000 to $15,000 car. Sure. And if it's an early one, if it's a later one in a cool color, like the Pebble Beach edition with like the burnt orange interior and that with metallic brown, the mocha,
or the blue exterior. Really dug on that really deep glossy blue.
Yeah, so that those people pay money for them. So clearly they weren't a complete failure. But here's the thing: like, was it a failure as a Lexus? Because all Lexus cars are pretty damn comprehensively good, if not a little bit like maybe boring.
I think that's kind of their MO. I mean, they have to be the automaker that ran with a cassette deck the longest, right? What's the latest model? I guarantee. So our GX, which is has a tape deck, is an 07.
Okay, my 06 does.
Yes, this is 07. So I think they probably had it in the 08. When did they go to the 460? Was that 2010?
The LS 460 was released in the 7.
How about the GX? 07. GX though.
Oh, and the GX was, I believe, 2010.
I
Yeah.
guarantee that might have been the first one without. So I would say 2009 was probably the last year to have a fucking tape deck in a
Heck yeah.
very pricey vehicle.
Yeah,
I love
man.
it because Lexus catered
Old
to
people
the
want
older
their
folks.
tapes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. And that's the beauty is like we get in any Lexus product. I know where all the switchgear is. You don't have to like take a lesson. You don't have to read the instruction manual. You just your hands naturally go there. I think ergonomically, a Lexus is well put together for that reason. I don't know. I love them.
You know
I
what?
personally love a Lexus. They're not adventurous. Let's get enthusiast minded though, and
Okay.
because there are the F1s, the ISF started it all with the first like
Sure.
real performance Lexus product.
Mm-hmm.
Never came with a manual. Let's talk about manual Lexus products, Frank, for a second.
Okay.
There's not many, right?
There's a handful.
Let's go chronological and see if we can actually do this together. It's going to be,
Okay.
I think the first one is the ES 250 could be had with a manual.
I don't know if that could be had with a manual. I
Was
suppose
it only the 300 that had it? The later ES 300. I know you could get that.
The ES 300 you could, which was
like
starting in 92.
300 examples, I think I read. It's that low.
Is it that low?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
I've
I
only
know
seen
I know
one-
it was a real low uptake.
I've seen one for sale and it was a salvage title and I still almost bought it, but I should.
So I think 91 you could have gotten an SC. You can get an SC 300 with a manual up until 90. Shoot, was it 96?
Four?
I think
Did it go? The manuals went that long? I thought
it's
they were
95 or 96.
Okay.
I don't remember when. Only on the 300, never on the 400.
Never. Yep.
So okay, so we've got. I don't know about the ES 250. Maybe.
Maybe let's play it safe because I know you're right on the other one. So we'll go with SC 300. Then it went to
ES 300.
ES 300. Fancy Camry. Great car though. Fantastic car.
IS 300.
Was that the next one?
I think so.
Talk about
Because I don't think you can get it in the second gen ES 300. I don't think it was available.
Nope.
It was not available in any generation of the LS. It was never available on the RX, which is a shame. A first gen RX 300 with a manual.
Great vehicle. Yeah.
If I
never
if
on
I
the
had
trucks.
if I had Sultan of Brunei-ish money, I would make that happen.
Yeah, not on the stateside trucks. So the LX and GX didn't get it.
Correct.
And the next one after that's going to be the IS 250, which is one of my least favorite Lexus engines of all time. Gotta say,
it's there. It was good for 200 horsepower.
Yeah, ridiculous. Fuel consumption was horrible for what it was for that power output. But you could get a manual. So I mean, there's something to be said there. And I want to go ahead and say that's the last time they put a manual in something.
I'm pretty sure it is. Because you can get the.
We just did a handful of that's all they had manuals. That's wild.
Unless we count the IS 250C as a separate deal because it's got 2 doors, a retractable. And you know what? Honestly, though,
yes,
if you were given the choice, back to that, not to live on the SC 430, would you rather have an SC 430 or an IS 350C?
Oh,
I bet you that IS drives better, and it has a more usable backseat. Both autos, similar horsepower, right? One makes V8 noises, one doesn't. I think I'd go IS 350C.
No, SC.
It looks better. I think the IS looks better.
I think the SC looks great. You know, I honestly believe the pie plates look good. I think it's a good looking car. The roof is so good because the IS will just have a regular roof. It won't have that fancy SC.
It's a hard top. I know it's not a soft top. I don't know how it operates.
Cool. It just doesn't look as cool.
That's fair. I don't know. I mean, that's subjective, but
anyways, yeah, they're both rear wheel drive. That V6 is pretty good though. That's a tough one. I think it looks. I go with the SC. I think the SC is cool. I really dig on that car.
Should that be it? We do a side by side. We each get our hands. You get your hands on an SC. I'll get my hands on an IS, and we'll have a head to head comparo. Lexus off.
Yeah, that SC it's something, man. I think it's kind of special. I think it's first historically it's the first like true Lexus convertible sports car. Right. The V8 in there, rear wheel drive. That's special. I think it's special.
What is? I mean, it's kind of the most special Lexus is the LFA, so we can just stop that there.
Love it. Yeah.
Outside of the LFA, what's the best Lexus? Past and present.
I really like the ISF because it was like, hey, I can play with the German and V8 crowd and kick some butt. So I kind of think that was a huge step for Lexus. Let's be brutally honest. The ISF coming out of left field.
Yeah.
Really love that car. I mean, most impact, probably something like the RX, which is like their big budget mover. Like they sell RX, right? I think it's like 40 or 50% of their sales are RX, which is insane. It's got to be that, right? Like if you're looking from that viewpoint, it's going to be the RX for special.
What's crazy?
The ISF is it, dude.
ISF is hard to top. I would have. What's funny is you said that that original RX, which was sort of a game changer. I mean, there were some other like luxury, smallish CUV stuff coming out around the same time, but really that was it. Like that was the one.
That bubble butt, that was it.
Yeah. So that you're right. That was pretty. You look at the cars on the road today. That was pretty revolutionary deal.
Yeah.
Is it more revolutionary and impactful in the market than the original LS? I don't know. It might be though. I mean, flip a coin, honestly. I mean, from that perspective of like what was the most special, important Lexus.
Yeah.
I mean, between the RX or the LS. I mean, LS actually built the brand, but Lexus. I mean, the RX, that original RX, really helped make the luxury SUV thing.
It made its own
genre,
segment.
like
it made its own segment. Yeah. I mean, the LS, of course, because that was Lexus breaking into the market, brand establishment. But boy, the RX like created a whole new segment that everybody chased wildly. And those things are fiercely popular. And the RX has never stopped being popular since then.
Oh, no, for good reason, too. They're good cars.
Yeah. And the LS is very...
the counter as far as the special, quote unquote, best LFA aside, the LC 500 is so damn cool.
It's very pretty.
I still really want it. It's very pretty. It's got effectively that same engine from the ISF. Unmatched build quality. I still think I prefer the coupe. I know people say, "Oh, you want the convertible so you can hear the excellent engine noises," and that's fair. Yeah. I kind of agree with that, but that coupe is just so pretty. It's so cool. It's such a thing that shouldn't exist, but they made that car anyways.
I mean, I got to mess around with the LS, the 500s, the hybrids, and the other ones. And the back seats with their massage functions and reclining and legs can go up in the long edition. Those are absolutely brilliant cars and look good too in sedan format, which adds that extra level of functionality. Boy, those are all great cars at 125K. Those hybrids kind of get a little pricey.
Yeah, a little spendy. And yeah, over you're into the six figures on a new LC 500. Probably like the highest mileage, cheapest one in the world that you can get of like an 18 is what, probably still like 65.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Like it has not lost a ton. Yeah, like clean title, but with like 90,000 miles or something like that. Like
hell yeah.
They're holding on to their value. But what a cool car.
Yeah, and we totally kind of like skipped over the trucks. Like I'm a huge advocate of the Lexus truck lineup. Like the LX is like undisputedly a legit off-road machine offering levels of luxury and reliability that even like Toyota, like that 4.7 V8, dude, let's be honest. Like
man,
in the Toyota Pantheon, that might be their best engine. 22R discussion aside, modern V8, I don't think that anything touches that truck engine.
Who would have thought, say 20 years ago, when we were in the heart of the Toyota and Lexus are boring and they're killing off all of their, Toyota's killed off the Celica. Now we're the MR2 Spider's on its way out, and now there's only Camrys, and the fastest Toyota product is the RAV4, the V6 RAV4, and like the sky is falling, and then like the only like bastion of hope to save the naturally aspirated V8 is Lexus. Like,
God bless them. Yeah.
How cool though is that new GX, the boxy.
There's going to be one in my driveway. We're both dialed in. My wife and I are on the same page. The second that thing is revealed, it's called like the trail something, blah, 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 whatever. All I know is it comes with Toyo tires, like the ones I put on the Trooper, but that thing's just brilliant. It's absolutely, they took all the Land Cruiser off-road goodies and baked it into the GX. Sign me up. I think our GX will like shepherd us onto that, but
sure.
And I love the GX we just
Then you
picked up.
make your current one a trail rig.
Yeah, exactly. But the current GX is fucking sweet too. So I love those trucks, and they're always good. They ride way better than they should for a truck.
Absolutely.
Still incredibly modern feeling, and just the build quality is just unlike anything else. The build quality in that 2007 GX is better than our RX, like our modern RX. Or
They're just so good. Yeah.
Yeah, so good, well built.
How about
And
this?
Dead nuts reliable.
What's the worst Lexus of all time?
Ooh, that's really tough, my man.
I think I have my answer, but I'm curious what your answer is.
Let me think for a little bit. I don't know.
Do you want me to just spit mine out?
Yeah, let's
Maybe
hear
you'll
what you
agree or
got.
disagree. It's one that people kind of forget exists.
Oh, I actually got mine already. Yep.
Is it because I just said that?
Nope, it's newer.
Okay.
Mine's
okay.
newer.
Okay. Well, I think maybe I know what yours is then. But the one I'm going to say. Do you remember the HS 250H?
Do you know why I remember? Because people compared that to the CT, and I was like, "Are you insane? You need a Lexus hybrid? Look how beautiful this hatchback is. That gets better fuel economy and has a great interior." Yeah, that
HS was like Prius based, except they just made it into a slightly bigger, heavier sedan with none of the aero.
Disgusting looking.
And I think they only got like combined like 34 miles a gallon. It was like not bringing a lot home to the table.
No, nope.
Compared to your CT, which was getting deep into the 40s.
Yep. And looked way like infinitely
looked better. It was more practical with a hatch. Was it smaller? Yes. Was that a problem? No. Like,
because the hatch balanced it out, right? For actually interior cargo volume.
But because of the like, I bet right now, even if you go, it's just like this forgotten Lexus product that like died on the vine and they didn't sell. It had like a 2 or 3 year run. I think probably a 3-year run.
God, they were
nobody bought them.
God, yeah.
I bet you though, because of the power of Lexus, they're still probably the cheapest one in the world. Still probably 18 grand or something. Like they can't.
Oh, you can get those cheap. I guarantee. I
can
bet
you get them cheap.
Cheaper than a CT right now. CT's kind of enjoyed a little hike during this gas thing. Like I bought my CT, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I put like over 100K on it, like cruising the entire Bay Area when I had clients everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then I sold it for $1,000 more than what I paid with 100K more mileage.
So just a quick cursory glance, and you should have. I mean, that was yours was a nice example though. That was
best color combo.
So it looks like on average they're about
8 grand.
12.
This is lower mileage. Show me a 200K one.
Here's one with 162,650 on it, and they're asking 10,375. Here's one with 176 for 11.
So right around a CT, but a little cheaper. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're 80,000 miles. I want 14.8.
But
yeah. So still overpriced though, and that's the power of Lexus.
Do you know what mine is?
I was gonna say, is it the what do they call it? Is it the UX?
The replacement for the CT 200H was the UX, which came out with those. I know everybody's gonna say the new WX is so cool, but the UX had those like plastic Saturn style molded. It just looked like shit.
Bumper covers.
So the new one, you know what they did? They painted the flares and everything in the truck. I
don't think I've seen a new one.
It looks pretty good. That's all they had to do. And it was weird. It was like a hatchback, but it sat higher, so it didn't get the good fuel economy. I mean, it still got good fuel economy, but those early UXs are god awful. Coming from the CT, which was like a legit.
They did them.
You know what? The CT had the Scion TC chassis, so it handled quite well.
Well, what's interesting is on those UXs, because when they first rolled out, I was like, okay, because at the time my wife's RX 330 was, 240,000 miles, and the check engine light had been on for like several years for cat inefficiency, and on and on and on. It's like, okay, maybe we should replace this thing, which eventually got replaced with the Highlander hybrid. But I was like, okay, like I don't want to buy a new car, but like these are actually available. And so I was looking, I was like, okay, get the hybrid one. It was just like, but then the hybrid battery eats like the entire cargo floor. So like the cargo floor is super high. So I was like, oh, it's not that practical anymore. And it didn't get like, if it got like 10 more miles a gallon, like I would have been like, okay, it's a fair trade-off, but it kind of didn't. And there wasn't a plug-in version. It just felt very compromised.
Okay.
When like a compact practical SUV should not feel compromised. Like it should feel like it can kind of do anything, and the compromise is like maybe it's a little bit expensive, or maybe it's a little bit ugly, not a lot of bit ugly. I don't know. The interior is nice, like okay, but
Lexus
yeah.
fair. But it's
So-
funny because I often won't buy the same car if I've owned it before. Just I'm weird like that. I want to experience different things.
Yeah.
But I would get back if I had a grueling commute again, like a grindy commute. CT again. I love that car. That was probably one of the best all around like commute cars I could ever think of because it looked good. Interior was comfy, great features.
Back seat's a bit snug.
No, not that bad. Not that bad.
It's a little snug. It's not a penalty box, but it's like if you're putting kids back there, fine. If you're doing 4 adults, it's a little squishy.
In a pinch. It's a smaller car, but I mean, for that reason, you're getting into the 40s MPGs. You're driving a car that doesn't look bad and it's reliable more than anything else on the road. It's like it's literally, I think, one of the ultimate dailies.
It's very good, and that's why they've held their value as well as they had. Like, Priuses. I know. In theory, you can steal a catalytic converter off a CT, and
no one knows that. No one knows that trivia.
Like, yeah. Guess what, kids? If you're playing along at home and you need one takeaway, steal cats off of CTs. How do we send off Lexus here? How do we end?
Well, I celebrated their December to remember. I bought a Lexus product.
You did.
You're driving one. I think we're doing a good part. Taking part in this December to remember from Lexus.
And maybe that'll be my capstone here is, when I first got this LS 430 of mine, I was very much like, it's good. I don't know if I want to be or can be luxury sedan guy. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's for me, but we'll see. And partially because I've been very busy, and partially because I've got still dealing with the weird key fob thing on that car, and partially out of apathy. I've just, because I contemplated, like, okay, what if I'll just clean it up and sell it and make a little bit of cash and then buy something more exciting? But as I'm spending more time with the car, it really feels, it's so easy to just get in and just absorb an enormous amount of miles, and you get to where you're going and you're like chipper and like comfortable and everything's great. And like, you got to drive somewhere. Okay. You hop in it and you're comfortable, and like, it just absorbs miles, and it's quiet, and it's just incredibly good at what it does. And I know I can put unlimited miles on it and suffer no major repairs, no major maintenance, no depreciation. It's going to be kind of hard to part with it, even if I want a fun daily. So I think for now, I'm just going to pack miles on it, and so be it.
That was our argument for the GX. It's kind of does everything really good. It can double as a family vehicle when we go to Tahoe in the snow. It's more than capable for going insane adventures. It's an incredibly comfortable truck. It can seat, I don't know, 8. It can really do a fucking ton of things, and it's good value for what it is. So same kind of thing. These cars, I mean, this Lexus from the similar period, right? They just
V8 Lexus is,
that's what I remember is just Lexus makes a damn good product. That's the argument. Like it's hard to like counter that.
Lexus game, rise up.
Let's get quizzy, my friend.
Ooh, am I? You're quizzing? You're quizzing all over me, right?
Yeah, I think I am. I think I'm gonna get worked up and then release a quiz on you.
You should definitely just throw ropes on my chest.
Why don't you describe to the listeners how this isn't so much of a sex act?
No, yeah. Well, today this is the only episode where it is not a violent sex act.
Violent,
exactly. So, in lieu of horrible things happening audibly for your enjoyment, different horrible things will happen audibly for your enjoyment, and that's going to be our print ad quiz game, which is still terribly named. But it's fun, and you should play along at home. The way this is going to go down is Chadwick here is going to find a print advertisement, probably from some sort of a magazine from the 80s, the 90s, up until the mid-2000s. He will then read the type copy from said advertisement whilst redacting out all of the overly identifying information. I will then get 3 guesses and 10 minutes of guess time to try and guess what make, model, and ballpark year of this particular vehicle is. I can ask for hints in between should I need them. I won't. I'm ready. If you are ready to play along at home, please do. Chadwick, Are you ready?
Those are bold assertions. I think I can rid this article for you, my friend.
Okay. All
Let
right.
me put on the spectacles.
Specs.
Get ready for this one, my friend.
I'm ready.
Introducing the new blank, the first luxury sedan that doesn't depend entirely on luxury to make you feel good.
Oh, vibrating
Why?
seats.
It's already like confusing. Luxury sedan that doesn't need luxury. Sure, buddy. Why should the rewards of owning a fine automobile be restricted to the purely physical?
Oh, the metaphysical.
We're going deep on this one, buddy. It was this unconventional thinking that ultimately led to the new blank, a luxury sedan conceived not by a corporate committee, but by a fine artist. Just one, homeless, and on drugs. Resulting in aesthetics that may strike a somewhat deeper chord in you than cars normally do. Of course, you can also savor the smooth acceleration of its dual overhead cam 24-valve V6 engine, the security of standard dual airbags, and leather-trimmed upholstery. After all, if the new blank didn't offer the prerequisites of uncommon comfort and performance, it not only wouldn't be a luxury sedan, it wouldn't be a blank. And then we have a little paragraph here. And that is, excuse me, I didn't describe the ad. The car has the three-quarter driver view at the bottom. There's some crazy kind of distorted background. Then we have like, a picture top down of two occupants, an illustration of them sitting in the front seats. It's not that great. And then the text. So here's the bottom. There's a little blurb here that's really tech specky.
Oh, good. I need that.
Dual airbag standard, ABS, 3.0L, assuming that's a liter of displacement, 24-valve V6 engine, multi-link, suspension, available leather trimmed upholstery. They're very clear to say trimmed. First car with available solar-powered ventilation system.
Oh, okay.
Frank, what's the first luxury sedan that doesn't depend entirely luxury? You have 10 minutes on the clock, my friend.
Boy,
that
one. Got tricky at the end. You threw me. I had some serious guesses here in my head, and then you had to step on in here with the only first vehicle or whatever with the solar sunroof. I don't know if it's the first, but I do know that like the late 90s, early 2000s Audis, and I believe like the A6 was available with that.
The solar powered ventilation.
The solar sunroof. That would it would basically just run a vent fan, and it would vent the hot air out. Those were 2.8s up until, gosh, I want to say 03. I don't think they would have been talking about, oh my God, it has dual airbags in 2003. So
Pontiac would like to fight you on that one because they put SRS on everything all the way to like the mid 2000s.
Exactly. Till their demise. Before that, it was reading to me like it read to me like an Infinity ad, and I don't know why. It kind of felt like maybe the talking about the artistry and like unconventional. It didn't use the term unconventional, but it made it seem like they were trying to sell its exterior design in a way where it's like, it's not crazy looking, it's special. And so that makes me think J30. I don't know if you can get a solar sunroof on a J30. I was also thinking maybe I30, which I don't, but that's a pretty boring ass looking car, but it checks all the other boxes. I think I'm gonna go with my first inkling, which is I'm gonna say it's gonna tinkle my inkle. I'm gonna go with this is a 1996 Infinity J30. Final answer, Bob.
I think the folks that would be interested in this car probably would be interested in that car too. So you're in the right stratum, if you will, of automobile.
Sure.
How can I help you out? Very good guess, though.
Freaking sunroof.
Well, to be fair, it just I know it doesn't say sunroof, but it says
I thought it said solar
with solar powered ventilation system.
Okay. I just
But
my brain did the sunroof thing.
It also says also available with, which means probably a rarer option.
Yeah.
But what can I help you with, though? You deserve a
So
clue.
dual overhead cam, V6, 24 valve,
3-liter.
3-liter, dual airbag. So this is, I mean, probably like 93, 94 at the earliest. Probably a little bit later, like 95, 96 ish. Anything not anything Lexus, but you had Lexus was coming to the party. Question: It said V6 on the tech specs there, or just 3-liter?
3-liter, 24 valve V6.
V6. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So GS is out. ES 300 is there. I don't think that was available with solar ventilation system. It could be a Mazda 929, but I don't think so. I don't think that twin cam 3-liter from Mitsubishi. Ooh. Could this be? I'm just gonna take a blind thrust, desperate thrust in the dark here. Could this be a 1995 Mitsubishi Diamante? Because that feels. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say it's a 1995 Mitsubishi Diamante.
I wish a 1995 Mitsubishi Diamante would drive into my garage. I search for those every week. This is not what we're talking about, but it's an absolutely, it's a parallel for sure. You are still right there. These people would all hang out at the same swingers club.
Okay, how about this for a hint?
Sure.
Did I even ask for a hint last time? I don't even know.
I don't think
we just skipped over that. That's okay. I felt Mitsubishi about it. Am I on the right continent as far as manufacturer?
If you're talking about the island nation of Japan, you are correct.
Oh, like Asia in general, but yes.
There you go, buddy. That makes up for the other one.
Asia. Oh boy.
Oh, you have 4.5 minutes, my friend.
I know. So it still could be an ES. It still could be an i30, although I still don't think that's right. It could be a 929, I think. I don't think a 626 was fancy enough. So maybe a 929. I don't think it's not a TL because you had the 2.5 TL and the 3.2 TL. There was no 3.0 TL, but there was a 3.0 CL. That was a coupe.
We did say luxury sedan.
Correct. I don't think it's anything Honda proper. They would not dare use the term luxury. And I don't think it's a straight up Toyota. I don't think it's like a Camry XLE. Boy, this is terrible radio. What about okay. I'm just should I take the wild take the wild card shot with a 929? That sounds like a bad idea. You know what? No guts, no glory. This is a Mazda 929. Final answer, Bob.
The tagline at the bottom says Mazda. It just feels right. Introducing the new Mazda 929, the first luxury sedan that doesn't depend entirely on luxury. to make you feel good, Frank. Great job,
Woo!
man.
Man, 929. When's the last time you saw one of
929.
those?
Well, I don't know, but I kind of want one.
Yeah, they're fairly, even at that period they were still on the boxy side, right? Or is this like the gen after that?
It's roundy, and this is 1992. So it was way ahead of the design, and they were pretty good looking cars. It's stately in the sense it's not offensive in any way. It's just a good.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
black
that
executive
gen.
sedan. Yeah, good looking car. I
Mhm.
like the narrower headlights, the grill, the fog lights. I don't know. I think these things look pretty good.
You know what's funny? It does look, it looks like a cross between a Mazda Millennia and a J30.
Yeah, a little bit of contour in there too, a little
And
Ford,
and
Ford influence.
Mazda Cosmo, you know,
Yeah,
the
and some
coupes
of
we
that
never
too.
got. Yeah.
100%. It has
Yeah.
Ford Taurus show wheels. It's a pretty cool car.
Yeah, I'd rock one. Talk about like a sneaky, interesting daily.
I think they're cool.
Absolutely fly under the radar. It would take the
Absolutely.
like the most hardcore car geek. You pull up to someone who goes, "Oh my god, is that a 929?" Like that's when you're like, "I'm buying you a beer. Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go tell war stories."
Truthfully, I think these things probably mechanically held up great because that's a good motor. That 3-liter 24 valve, like you said, it was in the 626 for a while. They jammed it in a bunch of stuff. And I think that was derived from their partnership with Ford. I think that was kind of similar to like Ford's technology for like the Duratec and all that kind of, is it the Duratec, the whatever, the 2.5.
The Duratec. Although this was like what it was called, like the MZ or something in the Mazda. I don't remember.
I'm sure that technology is all shared because that was the time when they were in
Yeah.
bed together. So cool car. I thought it was weird that we hadn't mentioned this car yet. And it because
I
it
thought
was
we had, but maybe
we
not.
hadn't. No, I went through the list. And it's kind of one of those sneaky cars because we all know about Mazda's failed attempt to make their Lexus or their Acura luxury brand. I thought it kind of works with our topic today. So and this was it. I definitely think this would have been built under their luxury moniker. I don't know why I'm blocking it out because I actually just watched a video about it the other day. What was it? It was like God dang it.
Uenos?
No, that's the name for the Miata. The
right. Well, no, it was its own brand because there was the Uenos.
God, it was like
oh, sorry.
Atreon.
Affini?
Was it? Nope, that's their racing. It's it's like an A. It begins with an A or an M. I'll look it up. But yeah, man. Have you ever driven or been near a 929 in the
I've
real
been
world?
near one. I've never driven one. I've never been in one. I've been physically near one, I believe. I assume. I don't know.
I was right with the A, and I was close. Amati. Mazda's failed luxury brand. I guarantee this would have had an Amati badge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually never been in one either. And you know what? They're probably dirt cheap.
Let's get one. Let's go.
Dude, fuck yeah. There's your replacement. That's your replacement for your LS right there. You get one for like $3,500.
Yes,
probably good car. Maybe a little sportier than the LS, like handling wise, because Mazda.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just yeah. I don't know. What's the current Mazda equivalent of that car? The CX-9, like,
got to be something. Yeah, one of their crossovers.
Yeah, because they don't even. Do they even have the 3 anymore? I think that's like the only car they have now.
They still make the 3, absolutely,
because they killed off the 6.
6 is dead. He did. But let's celebrate my friend with some PCP project car.
Yeah,
this podcast is what we're talking about. Folks.
Did I shoot?
Absolutely, please do. After that, you deserve to.
I'm gonna shoot. I know.
Went on a limb, got the 99, baby.
Shoot it and boot it. I haven't. All I've been doing is working on or around or with other people's cars. Like I've been shooting so many cars, like doing so much photo work on cars, yours included, that I have had like zero time to turn wrenches. I shot that SC 430. I just shot today a 13,000 mile 2002 Eclipse GTS Spider.
Those are cool.
It's actually, this one sat outside for a long time, so the paint's dead.
Bummer.
It's got some flaws, but it drives like a 13,000 mile car. It drives perfectly. It's got brand new tires on it too. There's like 10 miles on the tires, so it drives brilliant. It drives like a new car.
Mm.
And so it drive. I was driving. I was like, actually, I kind of enjoy driving it. Like it's 200 horsepower V6, 5-speed manual. It drives good. It sounds good. The interior's
Mitsubishi
made
made
of
some good
Legos.
stuff. Your Galant feels like a newer car. Truthfully, once you
Mhm.
got the suspension in there, I'm sure it's like very
Yeah.
very
No,
modern.
it drives well, but like this car I mean, it felt like a 13,000 mile car. So I had that out. I just shot a Ferrari F, not an F, but just a 458. So took a 458 out. It's a brilliant car.
Those are
scary because it's like I don't play in that end of the pool, and so like it's slow, and I'm worried I'm going to damage it. Those are pretty stout, but like I still don't want to ruin it. Doug's G Cabriolet in his A class. I just shot that. I just shot a 99 Infinity QX4 in like this mint green color.
Do they
Very
have the
clean.
tri-spoke wheels?
Yes, it's got the tri-spoke wheels.
How good are those? Why aren't we buying those? That's the real question.
So this one 119,000 miles. You can buy it off of me. It's going on Cars and Bids. No reserves. You can place some bids on it. It's great. It's
you can get those all day for like $4,500. It seems
that's probably what it's going to go for. But this one is it's in a really cool color. It's in like a mint green color. It's very similar to my 924.
Oh,
it's
shit.
like that color with a gray leather interior. The leather's perfect.
God, if it had like a cool like tan like baseball leather interior,
like my sweatshirt I'm wearing right now,
that would be so money, dude. I love that combo. It's my favorite combo.
Super good. So that a Grand Marquis, just a random like Oath 2 Grand Marquis. I've got a Type R I'm supposed to shoot next week. Just been staying super busy, not turning wrenches on cars, but doing car adjacent stuff, like having cars out, taking photos of them, checking them out. So which sucks because I have a mountain of work I need to do. The only thing I've done is I got a new stick-on mirror glass for the driver's mirror on the Galant. So I stuck that on this morning. I now have a functioning driver's side mirror. That's all the progress I have made.
That is solid progress. I'm kind of doing the opposite of progress because if you look over my in the video left shoulder, you can see a black executive looking sedan back there. I bought another car, Frank. I feel like back to back car buying episodes. Yeah. Dude,
that's all.
2008 Acura TSX with, and you guys know me, 6-speed manual transmission in there. Dude, I love these things. They are really hard to find that aren't like thrashed, don't have a Honda badge on there and stupid wheels and slammed to the ground, or just ratted. The paint tended to burn off of these things. The interior seats, the leather tended to separate. This one's fantastic, and I should take you around the car sometime and just show you. But paint's original, fantastic. The interior is all there. Everything's great. It's black on black, which looks perfect with this car. It's a facelift one. It looks really good. Right before they went to that like Optimus Prime, I always call it everybody calls it like the hawk face. I call it the Optimus Prime.
The beak, it
looks just like his face. 300,000 miles, Frank, on this car.
3 flat or more than 3?
It's like 320 to be honest.
Oh,
and I'm going to put it to 500. The thing is, 2-owner car. So this car was like a commuter, but being said, only 2 owners, it got maintained very well, clearly, and garaged every night. It's all original. I paid $3,500 for the damn
such a good deal,
and it runs clean title, runs perfectly. I'm just doing maintenance, and it drove fine, but you know me, I like to front load my maintenance so I never touch a car again. So it's going to get all the good stuff: new tires, valve cover gaskets, plugs, wires. It's just going to run forever. I mean, and the argument can be made that these are absolutely brilliant. You got a K series motor. You got a 6-speed manual, one of the best that Honda ever made. I love the 6-speed they put these, and it still looks modern.
Did you see that blue one that we just sold on Cars and Bids?
That was the super low mileage one. I was really excited. I made
46,000 miles.
Yeah. How much did it go for?
You have to guess because it ended when it ended yesterday
with a manual. I remember I made the comment on that auction that I said, on the Instagram, and I was like, dude, I listed all those things. I'm like, dude, you get a K series, a 6-speed manual, and a sedan that's timeless. And I'm like, this is why the TSX is so cool. And like 70 something people like that comment. So I'm like, I know these cars are popular. I'm going to guess with 40 something thousand with a manual,
46,000 manual, a good color. Paint. It's like a bright blue. Yeah.
I really want to say, I hope it hit like 26.
Didn't go that high. 19,750.
That wasn't a bad guess.
So yeah, basically call it 20.
20.
And,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. By the time somebody pays, the auction house fee and pays to get it shipped to wherever they're at, it's going to be, they'll be at 22
Yeah.
ish, 23.
Yeah. Well bought.
Which well bought, really well sold, I assume.
Yeah.
Because somebody probably picked it up for a song or nope, it didn't
God,
get driven.
I don't know.
But
The manual, talk about the manual tax, dude. The TSX manual is like 3 times the value of an automatic.
absolutely.
Not even like independent of condition.
Yeah, but yeah, you did a good job on that because $3,500 for that, regardless of miles, just with the condition alone. It had 800,000 miles, but in that same condition, immaterial, like it's still a good buy.
Great vehicle. I can't wait to drive the damn thing. So work I've been doing is, and you know how I am, I shop around for my parts, make sure I get all the right stuff. Got to get that Honda MTL or get that Honda manual fluid in there. I don't even use like the Redline MTL like I use for everything. I use the Honda,
right.
you know how I am. So just collecting parts. I have like a mountain of parts off camera back in the garage, dude. So this car is going to get the work over, and it's just going to be an awesome fucking daily because I think it's a very engaging car. With the gearbox and that 205 horsepower K 2.4 engine K series, it's a good combo and it's a really good car. So I'm super pumped, man. But yeah, buying cars like we were supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Just way to end the year. We're almost there, and we're just
back-to-back weekends of buying luxury Japanese brands.
Boy, it's okay. There's another weekend coming around the corner.
Oh God,
anything's possible.
Shut it down, man. We're getting out of hand here.
Yeah, we are. On that lovely note, you, the good listener, should go out and purchase your own 300,000 mile Japanese vehicle. While you're doing that, be sure to continue to listen along here at another Pointless Automotive podcast. We are APA Podcast on Instagram occasionally. We are everywhere you can listen and do listen to your podcastages. That's how you're doing this now. Another way to do it is on the YouTubes. So head on over there, find us on YouTube, another Pointless Automotive podcast. My name is Frank. That over there is Chadwick. Chadwick, where can you be stalked?
Yeah, you can find me, Auto Obsessive Garage, for my rescues, restorations, and reviews on the YouTube. Same thing, kind of get some sneak peeks at my projects on the Instagram. But yeah, that's it. And did you go over your personal stuff again, Frank?
First off, nobody cares, but in case they do,
not true at all.
It's the photographer's garage and all of the things, mostly Instagram, occasionally on the YouTubes, and always twerking what my mama gave me in the club.
God bless it.
You can catch me there.
Check out Frank stuff, if not for anything, because everybody loves the Suzu Trooper content. We shot some of the coolest shit about my 88 Suzu Trooper, and like it's like honestly some of the best photography I've ever seen. So he's probably going to be pretty soon putting a lot of that good content out.
Yeah,
so check Frank's stuff out.
Yeah, I love rare do I get to do a photo shoot with a theme.
Right.
And we had a theme, and it was a lot of fun. It fit
so good, dude.
For all your home for trooper content is also this podcast. So continue to listen along here, tell your friends, tell your enemies, rate us poorly on all the ratings things.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, And so thanks for all of that. We'll catch you guys on the next one. And
as always, take care, guys.
Toodaloo.